Hi everybody, this is God's Girl G. Thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. And for those of you returning to this channel to watch this video and you're not already subscribed, I'm going to encourage you to do so by clicking the subscribe icon below. And if during the course of this video you hear something that you like, click the thumbs up, comment below, or better yet, share this video with someone who you feel could benefit from its information. With that stated, let's get into today's discussion. We have often heard the expression, they have a love-hate relationship. And it's a very interesting statement. Love-hate. It's almost like there are two opposite ends of the spectrum of love, either love or hate. There's nowhere in between. So how can one person have a love-hate relationship with someone else? Doesn't seem to make sense. But let's try to understand what we mean when we say a love-hate relationship. People in love-hate relationships experience intense emotions and tend to vacillate between one end of the spectrum of love-hate to the other extreme. And these relationships can feel like you're on a roller coaster because there's both excitement and exhaustion. Now, studies of these types of relationships show that people who were in this type of relationship had similar values and interests, and they had a tendency to experience stronger love. But sadly, the hate part of the relationship yielded that for those same people who exhibited those stronger emotions of love, it yielded that the greater their hate of was toward that person. And it was usually a triggering event that caused their love to go in the opposite direction. Now, the Bible gives several examples of love-hate relationships, but today I want to focus on one that some of you may be familiar with. It's two people that started off with a great love and admiration for each other, but the other person ended up on the hate side of the spectrum toward the other after a certain event. Do you know who they are? If you said Saul and David, you are correct. That's the one that I'm focusing on today. 1 Samuel chapters 15 through 31 does a retelling of the relationship between Saul and David. Saul started out loving David greatly and ended up hating him just as great. Saul tried killing David with a javelin. He tried even to get his servants involved with killing him. He chased David with his army, and Saul eventually ran David out of the country. It's a clear, interesting concept here because it shows us if you're going to do something for the Lord and someone else envies the work that the Lord is doing through you, that person may likely try to destroy you, even if the person says that they love you. Just be prepared for adversity from your so-called friends. Now, David wrote many Psalms during his time when he was running from Saul. And the climactic part of this story shows David's integrity when it came to his view and relationship with Saul. He had every opportunity to take Saul's life, but didn't. Saul eventually became rejected by the Lord and lost his power by clinging to it. David remained honorable after Saul's death and kept his vow to preserve Saul's family's line. I encourage you to read up on the story of Saul and David. You will see the roller coaster ride of their relationship. There are two lessons that I would like to share with you today of things that we can learn from their story. Now, there are many things we can learn, but there are two that I'm focusing on today. Lesson number one, we must be content with what we have. After David killed Goliath, Saul became jealous, and that unwarranted jealousy led him down a fruitless path of trying to kill David. At the start of 1 Samuel chapter 18, Saul appears pleased with David, but something changed after he heard the women chanting, Saul has slain his thousands and David his tens of thousands. Saul had become completely jealous of David, ignoring the fact that David was working for him. So we must be content with what we have. Even if what you hear changes your emotions, don't let it affect your actions. Saul did not control his emotions, and it led him down an unfruitful path of trying to kill David. Let's learn from him and be different than that. Lesson number two, Do not render evil for evil. As you probably know, the Bible teaches the lesson of not rendering evil for evil in multiple places. In the story of David and Saul, we will find and we saw that David had multiple opportunities to kill Saul, but didn't. David spares Saul's life twice, whereas on many occasions, Saul pursued trying to kill David's life. Despite knowing Saul's intent, David refrained from killing him, even when he had a clear opportunity. On the two occasions that David had the opportunity to kill Saul, there were interesting quotes that came from David that are mentioned in the Bible. The first is in 1 Samuel chapter 24, verse 6. The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, or lay my hand on him, for he is the anointed of the Lord. The second is in 1 Samuel chapter 26, verses 9 through 10. Don't destroy him. Who can lay a hand on God's anointed and be guiltless? As surely as the Lord lives, the Lord himself will strike him, or his time will come and he will die, or he will go into battle and perish. In other words, David was saying, if Saul is going to die, he is not going to die by my hands, because he refused to touch God's anointed. It is a great reminder it is not our responsibility to render evil for evil. The story of Saul and David has one conclusion for me. Beware, a person who may love you now may hate you after they see how God is using you for his glory. A person may say that they love you in order to convince you to do things that benefits them, but the overall lesson here is to not allow jealousy to cause you not only to shipwreck your life, but hazard and interfere negatively with the lives of others. We must remember the story of Saul and David and do what David did. We must trust God's sovereign care for us, knowing he will bring others to justice. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you are the recipient of someone's love, hate, extreme emotions, it's important to remember that point. Thank you so much for joining me today. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Bye.